Hey there, Libra. This is Seven Scorpion Tarot, and I want to welcome you to tonight's reading. So, tonight we are back on the hero's journey. We're going to do another significator reading. I've got the Pulp Tarot here because it has my absolute favorite Justice card of any deck that I've ever seen. I just couldn't resist. Um, so we're about halfway through. I mean, not about, like literally halfway through with stage 6 in the hero's journey. Um, and this was another one that, like, the way that I had rotated the wheel on where the signs link up with the stages in the hero's journey, this worked out pretty well because the allies, enemies, and tests stage of the hero's journey, it's a little bit vague. It's a little more ambiguous, I guess, than the other stages, just because it doesn't have like a clear cut plot point, like just kind of relegated to that one part of the story. It like permeates um, multiple points, either like in the story, in your own journey. So it's a little more like amorphous. Uh, so this stage should be contributing to major lessons and the conflict of the querent, so the person being read for. And it may reveal internal conflict or character flaws as well. And the first example that came to mind uh, was Daredevil. He's my INFJ archetype, the advocate. I'm an INFJ myself, and it's just so interesting, like such a dynamic character because he has all these different ethical conflicts. Kitten, excuse me. That's not for you, actually. Trying to steal my stuff. But so he's got all these different, like, competing ethics within his character of the legal ethics of being a lawyer, the personal ethics, which, drive him towards the vigilantism, and then being Catholic as well. So that's a lot of things to make agree, and they don't always get along. Uh, and I got to say, I am really looking forward to Born Again. That's starting up next week on the 4th. That's right. Um, and like I do still like the movie that came out like forever ago. I am pretty partial to the show though. It's on Disney now. I think it started on Netflix. Uh, I really like that depiction of Daredevil and how deep they get into his backstory, and because I actually haven't read any of the Daredevil comics, I should certainly rectify that. But being that INFJ advocate, that's very Libra, looking for justice. And it's interesting with his character how he interprets justice and how he achieves justice, because he's looking at it from multiple angles within both the micro and the macro views. And he really is doing the best he can while being a flawed human at making these things agree and trying to act just in the highest good of all with his actions. And like in instances where it's better for these things to be sorted out in court because it can have like long standing or long far reaching effects. There's the justice card. There we go. but it can have far-reaching effects that will benefit Hell's Kitchen. And but where the justice system has failed, he'll step in, as that vigilante, and then he's got to navigate being this saint and sinner, in that Catholic paradigm. So interesting. And then the multiple tests that he goes through uh throughout the show, of like, there's of course that foundation of the blindness, getting splashed with the chemicals, and the loss of his father, and not just the loss of his father himself, but also the idea of his father, things that he finds out later on, and even as a kid, like, kind of getting that vague grasp on like making money from throwing a fight and stuff like that. And of course, he goes through many a test with Elektra. And early on in the series, Karen, she's quite the test, because they had like that first episode, and they're like, uh, how long have you been practicing law? And they're like 12 hours or whatever. Like, we just started today. And they had just started their own firm. And she doesn't have any money, they don't have any clients, and so they start this like back and forth, like mutually beneficial relationship. And that was a big risk. Uh but he really bet on her, that bringing her into the fold was not only the right choice, but that she really was innocent in what she was accused of in the beginning of the show. And Kingpin, of course, love that actor. I could never say his last name right. Uh, and I don't think it's spoilers at this point, but I'll try to be vague if anybody's getting, caught up for Born Again. But there's a really pivotal moment with Kingpin that's a huge test of ethics and integrity, of what is Daredevil and Matt Murdock, like, what are they really made of when given a choice. So we'll do the 5-position spread with the self, the personal shadow, the collective unconscious, ego, and the persona. But I want to kind of specify with this, like, allies, enemies, and tests, whatnot. So in the shadow and the ego, those will both be a test position. And then the down the center will just be like what's going on with the self. Maybe the theme of whatever is needed for justice. And then in the collective unconscious, we'll look for allies and enemies. And in the persona, we'll look for a potential character flaw. So it should be interesting. Get a little deeper into things. I just love this card so much. This is so justicey to me. I just love it. We'll get a card for the self. And happy Pisces new moon. I definitely feel the spotlight with everything going on in Pisces, and it being my birthday week, and Pisces sun, North Node, and Venus. Like, it's just going on with Pisces. Everything is going on with us, for sure. And all that extra energy in our sign right now. And like I had mentioned, I'm an INFJ. So I just feel everything for everyone. All right. 4 of Swords. Need justice for rest? Hmm. Or are you resting ahead of like justice coming? Or you'll be able to rest once justice has been achieved, which is, I don't know, that feels like a bit of the destination addiction. Like, I'll be happy when. Like, you can rest now. Like, you're entitled to rest. That's not something you need to earn. Uh, hmm. Oh, this could be, and I'm just going to disclaimer this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a professional. Don't take advice from me for anything. Uh, are you pursuing some kind of justice for a medical issue? Was something handled improperly? And that doesn't need to be necessarily like, you're going to court tomorrow or something like that, but it might be like you've put your foot down on, what is it, Twisted Sister? We're not going to take it anymore. uh, but yeah, you're just not going to take it anymore. That you've been being jerked around. You're not getting the results you need for your health, and you're taking things into your own hands. That uh, you're listening to yourself. You are taking everything with a grain of salt. I think ascribing to any methodology without questioning it, whether it's Western medicine, holistic methods, natural methods, either way, you'd be remiss to just pick one side of the aisle and not see how those things can agree with one another. Because medicine's not bad. Western medicine is not bad. I see a lot of like, I had a neighbor that, and I'm going to start shuffling for the shadow, but I had a neighbor that we had some differing opinions on some stuff, and they had said something like their issue with vaccines was how many there are, like how many kids get these days. Like, so it's innovation we have an issue with, that there are more available, so therefore they're receiving more. I'm not tracking the logic. It doesn't make sense to me. I've just not been one to hold things on principle for the sake of principle. Uh, I mean, I have, and it's that has led me to misery by being, inflexible. And yes, thank you too. Meow meow. Uh, but that just didn't make sense. Like, there's too many. Like, what does that mean? Or like, if somebody hears you're on, medication for something, uh, you know, there might be some offhand comment of like, I hope you can get off of that soon. Why? Why would you not want me taking something that's making me well? Uh, if it's not the right medicine, of course, yeah. But like, if someone told me that, which honestly they probably wouldn't, but in regards to like anticonvulsants, like, I hope you can get off of that soon. Why? I'll have seizures. I'll have more. That's bad. I need to stay on this for my well being. uh, Hi, kitten. Do you want to help? Just want attention. You already got your tuna. Tuna and scallops, actually. You have fancy treats. But it could be just taking charge of your health situation. Uh, if you have anybody in your life that has meddled with your ability to get well, maybe they got the boot, something like that. And that's a big part of that, like test allies and enemies. Like maybe you're using a time of rest to sift through something in your life. Doesn't necessarily have to be a medical situation. Uh, that like, yeah, the truth of the matter. But are the people in your life in the right buckets? Like, are they in the ally bucket? Did they help you during this? Or did they, whether intended or not, did they cause harm? Uh, and you're getting closer to the fire. You know, I love that. Not do that. Okay? Uh, and maybe it's, Ace of Swords here in the shadow. This is in a test position. Are you willing to see the people in your life for the role that they are filling, for the role that they're filling of their own volition? Like, save for if they're actual children, these are adults. These are adults making their choices. If they're not doing the work, it is not up to you to teach them. That might sound harsh, uh, but man, like just the expectations that have been put on me to like explain to other people what is and isn't okay when they're grown, and it just drives me bonkers. uh I mean, that's why I need rest. But as they say, denial is not just a river in Egypt. uh and it's pretty serious. Like, denial can be a really powerful thing whether or not you are aware of it. And sometimes, like, I've been in situations that I stay in conscious denial just because I may not have the bandwidth to get to that thing right then and there. I try not to let that ride for too long though. Like, if I need to stay in conscious denial about something just to let the shock settle, like let the dust settle, like a few days, something like that. But then I kind of, I gotta dust myself off, gotta look myself in the mirror and be like, okay, what are we doing? What's going on? Because I can't, just protecting your tail. Like, if you're unaware of something, like a thought pattern or something or other, uh, you can't, I mean, you can, but maybe don't, like, get too down on yourself about it because you weren't aware of it. Like, what can you really do? Once you're aware of something, though, then, like, lick your wounds. You don't have to snap into action right away. That actually might be ill advised. Like, take a step back and then get back to it, you know? And the truth hurts, might be why it's a sword. And it's a double edged sword, too, of like cutting through the BS. It hurts. And I honestly have not had a ton of experiences in my life where people really cop to it, to like, they just owned it. They owned what they did. That's really rare, unfortunately. Uh, it is what it is. And then you see what the deal is. Let's actually see what the test is in the ego. I want to go on the other side because that's a hard test in the shadow. That almost feels more ego-y to me about being willing to face the truth. Because in the shadow, there also might be a truth about you. Because as you work through unhealthy behavioral patterns, regardless of how they developed, you might have to take a good hard look in that mirror uh, about what behaviors have you been enabling to continue in your life, not only from you but towards you. And that's that's a hard look in the mirror. That one hurts, and it's not necessarily like you can be really critical of yourself, but I've found like the knife wound. Oh, the magician on the bottom. But the knife wound is just how disappointed I was in that I enabled that to occur or to go on as long as it did. And it's a delicate dance of recognizing your situation, recognizing your background, and the growth that you've had to be disappointed in yourself. That's a huge marker of growth, of not only being disappointed in yourself, but being able to act towards yourself compassionately once experiencing that disappointment with honesty. That's big, big growth. And I think justice, really, because that you can't change what you did, but you can change what you do. And you deserve to have healthy people and patterns in your life. But oh boy, that disappointment stings. Definitely doesn't feel good. The thing that does feel good, though, is knowing that you're either getting past it or past it. Like, it's not necessarily like, oh, this will never happen again. I'll never enable poor behavior. But you develop better tools and a better radar, like, as you go on, as things occur. And I mean, not every situation has happened to you. Like, something might catch you by surprise. Two of Swords in reverse in the ego. A lot of sword energy. Busy mind, maybe? So, Two of Swords is a choice. And it's interesting because, like, typically you hear, like, justice is blind, right? But it's the Two of Swords that has the blindfold, not the Justice card. I don't know if I've actually seen a Justice card with the blindfold on. Uh, so maybe in the ego, there's some indecision going on, being unwilling to see the truth. So some oscillation between the denial and acceptance. And it's not necessarily like a hard line. It very well can be, but even if you have to fake it till you make it to acceptance, that's fine. It might just be about setting boundaries with yourself about what actions you are or aren't going to take or permit. Of, yes, this still feels bad, but my logical mind, like, I know what is the correct choice, so that is the choice I'm going to make. even if I have this internal oscillation. And something that can help you navigate that is rest, that can help you achieve the just outcome. Because if you're oscillating between those, kind of might be best to take her easy, you know? So let's see, do allies and enemies here in the collective unconscious. So maybe this will shed some light on what it is we're oscillating about. What is the theme of whatever it is on our busy mind? And Two of Swords, too, also making me think of Hecate, of the two torches. Like I know the like Two of Wands would probably be more apropos, but it's like a crossroads. And my experience is that it's not about asking her for guidance, it's for discernment. It's about making your own choices, about using your own judgment, not getting the lead from somebody else because you're the one in the situation. Oh, maybe you don't trust yourself to make a choice. I think I mentioned that, some indecision. But maybe there's something in the ego. Is there some wounding there of hmm, the perception of others based on what path you pursue? I mean, people can think what they want. Uh, they're gonna think what they want regardless of what decision you make. And my own personal opinion is if you're living your life like that for other people with their opinions at the helm, you're not living for yourself anymore. And that could interfere with your internal compass, with your decision making. If you're being too considerate of other people's opinions, um, paying them too much mind, like it's good to get perspective. Bon Jovi song, "It's My Life," I think it's what it's called. Yeah. Uh. Hmm. So 80s bands? Is it? I mean, this is more 70s style, but Twisted Sister and Bon Jovi. So maybe there's some hair metal in your future, but maybe something in the lyrics in either of those. I haven't listened to Bon Jovi in a minute. So, a card for the collective unconscious. Ooh, there we go. 10 of Wands in reverse. So, laying the burden down. Or potentially a delay to that. And this card always gave me like Tatooine vibes. I don't know if the camera picks it up or not, but the two suns there in the background. But there's also the Mordor. Um, so a mixed bag here. But the Ten of Wands, like this is you're carrying all the burdens, the full burdens of the suit, and the next step is to drop it, to put it down. So in reverse, in the allies and enemies, are they trying to get you to hold these burdens, to like tucker you out? Maybe some kind of distraction? Like, there's a specific phrase I'm looking for and I can't find it. Like, but like busy work, it just something that seems important but really isn't. Like distraction, yeah. I think there's something really specific I'm looking for. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's the vibe that like it's never enough. Like it's never done. It's never tweak this, tweak that, you know, move this lever. Oh, you ordered it in red, but actually, just kidding, I said blue. Like, nope, you confirm red. And they're like, no, customer's always right. Like, give me it in blue. Okay. Like, just nonsense. So I'm going to take that as an enemy. Let's get an ally card then. We have a couple options. So distractions then in the collective unconscious. And you know, the thing that just came to mind, and I think it's actually fitting for the justice card, is what I was seeing going on with this email thing that, like, all the United States federal workers, like a million of them, got this email saying, like, provide us with uh, your accomplishments for the last 2 weeks, or it'll be considered a resignation. That's not enforceable. Uh, Unfortunately, people are in such dire straits and it's so confusing, and leadership at that level is a joke. It it's like a flurry of distractions. uh it's one of the many things that, like, it's getting caught up and there's no legal precedent for these things. uh there's no way that's enforceable though, but it is a good distraction to worry people, to get them stressed, to throw them off their game and whatnot. Yeah, so stuff like that, something coming from the bigger, like the macro perspective, that seems burdensome, but it really isn't. It's not your burden to carry. It's just occupying mental energy, which if somebody's doing something, if they're up to no good, that's a good distraction. It's a good, like, look over here. I'm trying as best I can to ignore these things, and they still keep slipping through. Like, I couldn't really ignore that one. That was a pretty large headline. I couldn't believe it. Uh, and it's scary, you know, because these are people working in the public sector. Like, they're can't imagine their savings account are overflowing. So they probably panicked. I don't know. Maybe that could be some sort of class action lawsuit of, federal workers band together. I don't know how that would go or even on what grounds. Uh, but something, you know. I saw a TikTok where she was talking about like we're 2, 3 months from losing our democracy. That might be generous, honestly, which is really incredibly scary. Uh, People really gotta stand up as they're able. You know, we are in trouble here. That's what we need some justice for. How about an ally? Give us something good. Something. What are we working with to counteract all this? Not half the deck. Oh, and random thought. I don't know if anybody's seen it, but this 0 Day thing, the Al Pacino thing on Netflix, it was so good. Uh, I saw it and I was like, oh, I'll just watch one episode before bed. LOL. No. 3 episodes later, it's like, oh my God, I need to go to bed. I have stuff to do in the morning. Really good. I really enjoyed it. Definitely riveting, as they say. It was like a little mini series, like 6 episodes. And it's amazing to me that I have the darndest time paying attention to a movie for the whole time. 3 to 6 episodes of something on Netflix, sign me up. I don't know what that's about. Oh, maybe I'm just a spaz. That's fine. Thought about it. I take it. 9 of Cups in reverse. And this is our ally. So maybe not being so independent. Or no, that's the wish fulfillment. And the last time I pulled this card, I misread it too as the 9 of Pentacles. Wonder what's up with that. So 9 of Cups in reverse as the ally. That rejection is redirection cliche just came to mind. I mean, it's not wrong. It's incredibly frustrating, especially when you don't know what that redirection is. And then you got to go to the next cliche of trust the process. I'm like, okay, can I get an ETA on this whole this too shall pass thing? When's that happening? Uh, but not getting what you wanted, not getting your wish is the ally. Oh, so just following that, the redirection quote. Uh, like, have you ever gone for a position at work, you didn't get it, and then you saw like whoever did get it, like a year went by, and just how absolutely stressed out they were? Something like that. That like maybe it doesn't feel like it, and maybe it feels like an incredible burden to not receive what you want. But in the grand scheme of things, it's like leading you towards justice, because this is all within the context of the hero's journey. So there's still 6 more stages to go here. I'll start shuffling for the persona, and we're looking for a character flaw. So, and since this is, that ambiguous stage that like kind of permeates the full story here, this could be maybe more than one wish that didn't come true or that was delayed. Maybe it's coming to you in a different form than you would expect it to, or than what you wished for. Kind of funny how that works. Like, what's the Rolling Stones song? The "you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need." Uh, hmm. What's a flaw that might, I don't know, erupt as part of this process, or something we may have thought was healed and isn't? Ace of Wands in reverse. So 2 aces, one upright, one reversed. And that's the suit of will, the suit of ideas. Maybe since, Pisces new moon, head in the clouds a bit. That could be a character flaw. Some escapism. Or, since we had talked about some indecision here, maybe not following your intuition. You're not trusting your gut. Some sort of doubt has been instilled in you, or you might still be in denial, and it's making you doubt yourself. Or maybe there's some sort of, health issue or whatever in your background that like in the context of those federal workers and whatnot, like, what about my health insurance? Are you having to tolerate or enable poor behavior due to your circumstances? And that's a rock and a hard place. Uh, this is the Audacity deck. We'll see. I want to get a card for both sides. The underlying energy, or the theme in either side. Do you maybe have a hard time trusting your own ideas, that they're good ideas, because you didn't receive the encouragement either like from your environment, from your home environment, from your work environment, from like whatever that may be? uh like some old wounding there that is inhibiting the start of that suit of the suit of the wands of, I mean, passion and ideas. Is your creativity blocked? And I'll get a card for this side, for the ego side first. We're talking about that, the Ace of Wands. And this is such a funny deck. I love the art. And I mean, to bring up another cliche, like, trust yourself. The mom boss, like, you know best. Mother knows best. Uh, cool. And I like that, like, it kind of looks like a rainbow that's on fire. Uh, and it looks like she is on both her phone and her laptop whilst caring for the children's. It's a lot. It's a lot going on. So that could be contributing to some of this, the indecision, the not trusting yourself potentially, of, like we were talking about with the example of those federal workers potentially not being able to stand up against injustices of something that was obviously just like a garbage distraction move because they have so much going on in their personal life. Like, they're not balancing two plates, they're balancing 12. And, we have no context beyond the image of this card. She could be a single mother to two kids. That's a lot. I'll start shuffling for this side, for the shadow side. Maybe what's the underlying energy for this truth or this burden or something? But she's so overworked. She's a skeleton. Mm, that one came out much faster. The two of these acorns. We'll put it like that. I think you can extrapolate the meaning from the imagery. And they're shocked and awed at the two of these. Interesting. Maybe seeing the truth of this distraction of your wish not being granted. It's taking some beach ball sized lady nuts, which I'm pretty sure she has. uh, we'll get some, or maybe a song. Like, we've talked about quite a few, Bon Jovi, Rolling Stones, and Twisted Sister. Let's see. That also makes me think of Emperor's New Groove. Like, when they're teaching squirrel language. Uh, and they're doing that, like, there's a TED talk about, like, doing a superhero pose when you're about to go into, like, an interview or like a difficult conversation or something like that. Like, it helps bolster your confidence. So maybe you need some more confidence to face a truth, to face a burden. Mm. Or to stand in the face of disappointment, of not receiving your wishes, of not having those granted. And, if that happens enough times, it is incredibly demoralizing. If you're in this constant cycle of, I just need a break, I just need a break, I just need a break, and you don't get it. It is incredibly exhausting. And it can be really hard to keep up your motivation of, when's it coming? When's the respite? I think that's the right word. When's that coming? When's the relief coming? Then you don't get it, and then you don't get it, and then you don't get it. Oh my God. How how can one person keep doing this? The sin in the sentence. Yeah. That's I think very apropos of, you condemn me because you don't understand me. And beware those who speak in tongues, for they may call your name. That could be that burden of, beware. They might be calling you. The lyrics are so good in that song. The real monsters lie between the light and the shade. So we kind of talked about that with uh like the look over here distraction of that big email campaign, which who knows what that was trying to detract our attention from. Maybe giving out IT access to people who don't have clearance for it or didn't get background checks for it. Just a, I don't know, just a thought. I don't want to harp on that too much, but it could feel, if if and when, it happens, life goes through cycles. When things get hard enough and they go on for long enough, it can be really easy to convince yourself, I did something to deserve this. It has to be something I did. Even though I keep fighting the good fight, I keep doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm trying to do all of the things. I'm trying to spin 12 different plates in the air and they keep falling down. And people keep telling me I'm supposed to keep 15 up. Why can't I keep 12 up? And they're not telling you that they can't even keep 5 up while you're keeping up 12. It's wild, that perception that people will place on you, and it's unjust. And once you start to see the truth of the matter, you need some rest. It's really exhausting to take a cold, hard look at the world and how unjust it is, and keep up your motivation and keep up that strength for fighting the good fight. Whether that's for yourself, for your family and the community around you. It's hard. You might need that superhero pose to get you through to stage 7 of the hero's journey. But overall, I hope this helps. I hope this resonates, and if it doesn't, I hope the next one does. Thank you so much.